we have a very strong team of volunteers in our piping and drumming and competitions. And so I've been kind of heading up that team for the last number of years.
I've been involved with the piping scene since I was a wee boy. I started in Antigonish, and there was a sort of a deep culture of piping and whatnot.
I've never really been to a dance where the piper was the main musician behind the step dancer. It's always been the fiddlers.
I got to know Ron Rollo very well, and subsequently Bruce Gandy when he was just a little youngster. Bruce and his son Alec have done a good job at the Citadel here, and kept a very keen awareness in the community about their position in piping in Nova Scotia and the world.
You alluded there to dancing, and that's a very interesting subject. So I get the impression from your whole Atlantic area, Cape Breton and Nova Scotia, that step dancing was very predominant, and perhaps more predominant than Highland dancing. Is that a true statement or whatever?
That's true. Highland dancing is step dancing. It was part of the culture here right from when they got off the ship in 1801. The fiddle, and often it was played with the pipers, providing the music. So the step dancers. I know my grandmother remembered days when she would go to a dance back in, the early 1900s, and there'd be a piper, and the step dancers would be stepping along to the strathspeys and reels, that continues to be a very strong tradition here through Cape Breton and in the eastern part of Nova Scotia, where Antigonish is located, and is very popular with the people to see step dancing. And we just honored one of our step dancing teachers at the St. Andrew's banquet 2 nights ago, Margie Dunn, who it's amazing what one teacher can do. She was the only teacher back in the 1970s, I think, when my sister started training with her. And that spawned a whole new generation of step dancers in this town.
You mentioned the pipers accompanying the step dancers, but is it not the case that it's more often than not it was fiddlers and associated instruments that did the predominance of the music for the dancers?
Yes, certainly. It's the fiddlers that are. I've never really been to a dance where the piper was the main musician behind the step dancer. It's always been the fiddlers, accompanied sometimes by a piano player. back in the long ago days, there was the tradition of the piper playing. But we have, of course, excellent fiddlers. Buddy McMaster, I think, is probably the one who was best known in Scotland, because from the tales I hear, some of those traditions had been dying out or even died out in Scotland, like the step dancing. And so when Buddy and some step dancers went to Scotland in the 1970s, it was kind of like a reintroduction in some areas. Yeah.
It's amazing because it's always been a strong tradition in Ireland, the step dancing.
Yeah,
And
it's a different type, eh?
it's a different type, but that's alluding to. But they play to their own round reels and everything else.
yeah,
Whereas you play a different form of music and a different form of step dancing. Is there more of an edge to it? Is it
yeah.
perhaps a wee bit more pointing and cutting going on in the music rather than what's the round style of the Irish?
Yeah, people get very excited watching the step dancers when they're dancing to the reels, especially, because
Yeah, yeah.
the steps are really you can hear the shoes on the hardwood floor, and it really stirs the blood, I think.
So,
Yeah.
what kind of shoes did they wear?
Well, if they're really performing, if they're not just jumping out of the crowd to join in a dance, they're usually uh, wearing hard black shoes. Sometimes they have clackers on them, but not very often. I know of a
Not
couple
very
that use
often,
them.
aye. Right, that's
Yeah,
fine. That's
they're usually
interesting
just
too.
nice hard black shoe that will make a nice sound on the hardwood floor.
A lot more teaching going on locally now, certainly with the College of Piping and PEI, and what Bruce and Alex Gandy are doing in the Halifax area. It's really come a long way, I would say.
Would you mention just a word or two about the Gaelic College to folk across the world? Explain what it is and how it evolved.
Um, it would be sort of not fair for me to give you a good background on the Gaelic College, but certainly it was launched early. I'm not sure if it would be in the 50s. It was launched. Its focus was certainly on piping, drumming, and dancing. It has evolved over the years to include much more of the local Cape Breton culture and Celtic music, from fiddle to step dance to all the different genres that way. But in the early days, they brought top players from Scotland over to teach there, to really help with educating the local. I would say the local um, players in some of the proper ways to play. But at the time, it was a school that was advertised throughout North America, and there's a number of young American players that are people that came in to take summer schools there as well. So it's been going a long time. It's always been a stalwart for piping, drumming, and music in the area, and its contribution has been tremendous over the years.
Where's it located?
It's located on St. Anne's Bay in Cape Breton, just outside Bedeck. Just a small village, small town, overlooks a fantastic bay. Just a beautiful setting for a school like that. And people who go there become attracted to Cape Breton. It's on the famous Cabot Trail. And so, when people come there, people spend time there, they probably, a lot of people have come for the summer and then decide to take a week's long class there and whatnot. So it's been a tremendous school for a long, long time.
And I'm just going to give a wee word of mention to Barry Ewing. Where is Barry staying in relation to where you are?
Well, Barry is on the other side of Toronto, a few hours. He lives in
Right.
Windsor.
I thought that. Yeah, I thought that.
If
So
we
how
honored
did
Barry what was that? 5 years ago, I think we have a Hall of Fame for the
Yeah,
Highland Games that
good.
covers all the different disciplines. So Barry was honored as a piper in our Hall of Fame. There's probably about 5 solo pipers now that are in our Hall of Fame, and Barry certainly deserved the honor. He really brought a lot of excellence in piping to the area. And I think his being here as a teacher at the Gaelic College and then teaching bands outside Cape Breton as well, like our band and Scotia Legion, really upped the quality of play for all the bands here. It was the first grade 1 band that ever came out of Nova Scotia was his band. So I think people really appreciate Barry's contribution.
Nice chat. I know Barry very well and his sister, Jean.
But Donald Shaw Ramsay played at the games because after Donald was shot in Edinburgh, myself and Sandy Macbeth and Bob Stewart, who was the drummer, and I was teaching the Stellarton Balmoral Pipe Band. We saw in the Piper Bulletin that Donald Ramsay was looking to move to a different climate for recovery. So we contacted Donald. He lived in just outside of Edinburgh, then at Falkirk. So we got him on the phone, and he and Bessie ended up moving to Pictou County for 2 years. And Donald played in Antigonish, naturally won the professional competition hands down.
And Bruce Gandy's 78th Citadel band, they attended quite a lot.
Yeah, Bruce's band has really set the standard here in Nova Scotia, and in fact, they've won in Canada at the Maxwell Games in Ontario. And Bruce and his wife Beverly, who was Beverly Rollo, her father was Ron Rollo, who piped in the 78th Frasers with Bill Livingston. And I knew Ron, and he played in the Air Force 400 Squadron when they came to our Highland Games in New Glasgow for a couple of years as guest band. So I got to know Ron Rollo very well, and subsequently Bruce Gandy when he was just a little youngster, about 12 or 13 years old, and he was playing pretty well then. And so I met him up at the New Brunswick Highland Games. So, but Bruce and his son Alec have done a good job at the Citadel here, and kept a very keen awareness in the community about their position in piping in Nova Scotia and the world. They're world-class players, you know.
Matt McIsaac. Matt
is probably a distant relative. Matt was a pupil of Ian's. And Matt, when he was just a boy of about 11 years old, he was piping, and he was connected with the Black Jack McDonalds out of Cape Breton and the Mackenzies. And his mother was a Mackenzie. And he was about 12 years old, and he was playing on my back deck during the festival of the Tartans Highland Games. And somebody called the cops. So the cops landed because we were making too much noise. So anyway, I told him to go to hell. It was Highland Games week, and we're going to pipe as much as we want. So we continued piping, but Matt was only 11 or 12, and I told his mother and father, I said, listen, this boy has got something else that's up and beyond the normal young pupil. And of course, I've watched him mature and become a world-class player, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And but they were from Prince Edward Island.
And you mentioned Andrea Boyd. I understand that she was just hoping to have a new baby this week.
She has had a baby. She had a girl just
a girl. Fantastic.
Yeah, she had a girl just a few days ago.
Well, pass my congratulations to Andrea. I was on message to her about a week ago,
Yes.
And she passed lots of information from. It's a smashing piper. How does she? What contribution has she made to your games over the years?
Yeah, Andrea was a member of the Antigonish Highland Society band. I guess that would have been in the 90s, I think she probably came up.
Mm-hmm.
And she has come back a number of times since she moved to Scotland back. When did she move to Scotland? About 10 or 12 years ago, I guess. And she played with Balcall and Bathgate. Is that am I right there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
and then St. Lawrence O'Toole as well. So
Uh-huh.
she's come back to play as a open piper, and she's also judged at our games since then. And she even did an instructional video. During COVID, we couldn't have our games, so we tried to do other things, and one of them was an instructional video for the average person to understand the different types of tunes, the hornpipes and
Yeah.
what a march sounds like, what a pibroch sounds like, and that type of thing. So she's been
That's
a great collaborator. Her
fantastic.
father Ian
Mm-hmm.
is a stalwart in our Highland Society as well, and he works with me on the organizing of the games every year. He's kind of my co-chair.
Wayne Moog, a friend
Yes,
of mine.
yes,
You know Wayne, and he's
I know.
heavily involved with bands and has been.
Yes, I know Wayne very well. Yes, we played together with the Halifax Police.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wayne has been just a tremendous influencer and supporter of piping in Nova Scotia since his arrival at the Halifax Citadel. And the investment he's made, the time he's made in many different bands around Atlantic Canada is significant. And, Wayne would be certainly one of the people who have supported and built the piping scene in Nova Scotia.
And thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Doug, it's wonderful speaking to you. And pass on best regards to Andrea and your own family and all the rest, and every success again next year for the games.
I'm sure it will be, and thanks for inviting me on, Alan, and good luck with your project.